Dr. Umar Johnson, one of the biggest pro-black voices in the black community, was on Joe Budden's podcast and challenged the idea of Eminem, a white rapper, being one of the greatest rappers of all times. Now, Dr. Umar, like I said, is very pro-black, and he is against everything anti-black, such as interracial marriages, and oftentimes goes in on major black successful athletes who, during their come-up, they're with black women, but once they get some notoriety, leading to success, they drop their black sister for a snow bunny. Umar's stance on the situation was, in no way, shape, or form will Eminem, a white man, be considered the best of hip-hop, which is an African-American genre.
You don't think Eminem is one of the best rappers of all time?
According to who?
You, rap fans.
Let me say something to you, and this is going to my African fundamentalism. No non-African can ever be the best of anything African. It is an insult to the ancestors, it is an insult to the race, and it is an insult to every black person. Do you think I could go to Palestine and be the best anything of Palestinian culture? You never see that. You think I could go to Israel and be the best of anything in Israel, whether it be a cook, an instrumentalist, a dancer? Hell no. And we have to stop naming non-African people, Joe.
But I disagree.
Stay with me though. Let me finish this. We got to stop naming non-African people as being the best of any aspect of our cultural product.
Joe, I think you
because it is an insult.
You
it is an insult.
We can acknowledge that the talent is the
yes, I can acknowledge it.
Hip-hop, Eminem is viewed as the black hockey player. Now, hip-hop is a genre that's predominantly black, and it was created by black people for black people, and it became so popular that other races gravitated towards it. Now, with there only being a few white artists to reach mainstream success and be embraced by the black community, Eminem is the guy. Now, unfortunately for a lot of black folks, it's hard to accept that one of the best rappers is a white person and he adapted to our culture and became very successful at it. If it's not top one, it's definitely top two. But Eminem is one of the greatest selling hip-hop artists ever. Yes, he is white, but also with him being white is a contributing factor to him selling so many records, and basically, after he got support of black people, he was golden. In my eyes, when Eminem popped, white people finally saw themselves having a horse in the race. Before Eminem, it was NWA, Dr. Dre, Snoop Dogg, Nas, Biggie, black artists who were lyrical, dressed a certain way, nigga this, nigga that, spoke a certain way, and rapped in a certain cadence. Now, with rappers dressed in a certain way, which was culturally wearing do-rags, baggy jeans, baseball caps, sneakers, white people couldn't do that as they would have been scrutinized, and it just wasn't their culture. So when Eminem got stamped by Dr. Dre and released the Slim Shady LP, it became a hit. Personally, Eminem was a former battle rapper who loved controversy and beef. Now, do I think Eminem is a top 10 rapper? Me personally, no, but it's debatable and subjective. Now, Dr. Umar strongly disagreed and viewed this level of praise towards Eminem as white supremacy.
We should.
But let me tell you,
for you to put him at the top, that's white supremacy. That's white supremacy.
What's white culture?
I don't see Eminem building those schools and hospitals. I don't see DJ Khaled building those schools and hospitals. I don't see DJ Vlad building no damn banks and supermarkets.
Yo, I'm asking.
Hell no.
Let me ask you a question.
Ain't no.
Dr. Umar is in support of everything pro-black, but this may be a very rare miss. He also threw shots at DJ Vlad and DJ Khaled. Now, starting with DJ Vlad, Vlad is a culture vulture. Any misfortune or demise of anyone black, he looks to monetize, and it's disgusting. It's platforms like this that Umar feels like causes the biggest harm to black folks because they promote negative stories or narratives about our people which rarely benefits them, but always benefits him. Hip-hop is black-owned, but it did get colonized by the white man because they saw the long-form benefits of owning the masters, the rights to publishing, and set them up to be screwed for a lifetime because our people just didn't understand the literature of terms of the contracts. This is why artists always end up suing their labels or get into situations where the labels make them jump through hoops to fill their record label contract agreements. The thought about Eminem being a culture vulture is something I strongly disagree with. I feel you can only judge a person by the amount of people that they bless. And Eminem has put on so many quintessential rap groups and solo career stars. Dre signed him in the late 90s, and then Eminem signed 50 Cent in the 2000s. 50 brought in his G-Unit collective, which Eminem co-signed. Then Eminem brought in his D12 Detroit Dozen collective that he ran with. And then he co-signed Joe Budden and Slaughterhouse. Just based off Eminem signing 50 Cent alone, that would have been enough for the black hip-hop to see a white superstar using his aura and platform to put a former crack dealer who barely survived an assassination attempt, leading him to megastardom. Another figure who came into the hip-hop with the I don't give a fuck attitude and started getting at people and how to rob, and basically his arrogance and confident persona is what propelled him to high levels of success. He didn't care about the industry, he wasn't here to make friends, and in 2003 when 50 dropped Get Rich or Die Trying, that was the realest rap album that came out in the last couple of years. It was street rap about real life things that he experienced, real life things that he had seen, and a lot of people could relate to it because it was real. And then you look at it 20 years later, Get Rich or Die Trying, 50 Cent is on his final lap tour, which he just finished, selling out arenas in places you can't pronounce. Listen, so I'm not white, but I can only assume that for white folks who love hip-hop, Eminem is viewed as the rap god. Now, the Caucasian folks were very upset about Dr. Umar's remarks, and they let him know on social media. Now, Dr. Umar had to keep it 100, and he responded on IG Live.
The reason I'm going live tonight is I want to address the Neanderthal nation. I'm going live tonight. I want to address the Neanderthal nation. When I look at the responses from America's Caucasian community over this issue of Eminem being the GOAT of hip hop, and let me say this, I have nothing personal against Eminem. My comments on the Joe Budden podcast had nothing to do with Mr. Marshall Mathers personally, and I want Mr. Marshall Mathers to understand that Dr. Umar Tunde harbors no personal ill will towards you. This is not personal. This is business. This is not personal. This is business. Eminem, I want you to hear me, young man. This is not personal. This is business. You are a talented musician, lyricist, producer. You seem like you are an okay guy. You've never done nothing to me, and you've never done anything that I personally witnessed to be worthy of condemnation. So my comments are not personal. They apply to any non-African. This is about business, the business of protecting the integrity of African culture. I said my comments on the Joe Budden podcast was about business, not personal. The business of protecting the sacredness, authenticity, and integrity of African culture. I said that no non-African can ever be the best of anything in African culture. You can't be the best cook of African food. You can't be the best rapper of African hip hop. You can't be the best singer. You can't be the best priest of African culture. Nothing we create can a non-African be the best at. First of all, it makes absolutely no sense at all. I don't even see how an African can come to the conclusion that a non-African can be the best at anything when we are the oldest people. We are the first people, and we are the most numerous people. So when you say a non-African is better at X, Y, and Z than a member of the race, you're saying that this person can do this better than 2 billion Africans. Or you're saying not only can they do it better than 2 billion Africans on the planet, you're saying they can do it better than all of the billions of Africans that have ever walked the planet Earth. You know, and I know that that is absolutely ridiculous. You know, and I know that that is absolutely ridiculous. You know, like I know, that that is absolutely ridiculous. And from a cultural integrity perspective, this is not about Mr. Marshall Mathers. I don't have nothing personal against that man. But from a cultural integrity perspective, haven't they stolen enough from us? Haven't they appropriated enough from us? Haven't they robbed, stealed, killed, enslaved, lynched, miseducated, mass incarcerated, politically dominated us enough that you mean to tell me that after 404 years, you got black people running around playing defense attorney and cheerleader for white folks. You got black people running around after 404 years playing defense attorney and cheerleader. The fact that you got black people arguing for a white man to be considered the greatest of all time in an African art form speaks to how psychologically ill we are as a race of people. After all we have been through in this country, you got black men running around playing defense attorney for white folks.
If they cared as much about police brutality against black people as they care about Eminem being called the GOAT, if they cared as much about mass incarceration reform as they cared about Eminem being called the GOAT, if they cared as much for black women being sexually trafficked as they care about Eminem being called the GOAT, we would have solved a lot of our problems by now. No non-African has any business being considered the greatest of all time in any aspect of our cultural expression. Now you got an attitude. So if I'm a racist for saying that, which I cannot be because racism implies the ability to disenfranchise another group of people, I don't have that ability. See, y'all love to call black people racist because it's a distraction away from your racism. Y'all love to call us racist because it's a distraction from who the real racists are. We never hung nobody from no trees. We never intentionally miseducated your children. But you call us racist because you have this thing where you have to always play victim. You have to always play the victim so nobody realizes you're the perpetrator.
His biggest issue, which dates back to slavery, not Eminem, is white folks have been stealing from us for the past 400 years, glamorizing anything that they see they can monetize, and penalize us for anything that they don't want. His whole stance was he didn't have ill feelings towards Eminem, but he just felt as hip-hop being black created by black people, no other race should be mentioned or categorized as a leader on our turf. One thing you gotta respect about Dr. Umar, he's always gonna speak his mind. You may not agree with him, and this take is a rare time I don't agree with him, but you gotta love someone who never shies away from speaking their truth and speaking on topics that other people are afraid to address.